Ukraine's nuclear power provider says that Russian forces have blindfolded and detained the head of Europe's largest nuclear plant. AP correspondent Karen Chamas has more.
The alleged kidnapping apparently took place not long after Russian President Vladimir Putin escalated his war in Ukraine by annexing 4 Ukrainian regions. The capture of Ihor Murashov, the Director General of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, was seen as a possible attempt to secure Moscow's hold on the newly annexed territory. Russian President Vladimir Putin has signed treaties to absorb the Luhansk, Donetsk, Kherson and Zaporizhzhia regions of Ukraine, including the area around the nuclear plant. I'm Karen Chamas.
Ramzan Kadyrov, head of Russia's region of Chechnya, said on Saturday that Moscow should consider using a low-yield nuclear weapon in Ukraine after a major new defeat on the battlefield, as Russia confirmed the loss of its stronghold of Liman in eastern Ukraine. Kadyrov slammed top commanders for their failings and wrote on Telegram, quote, "In my personal opinion, more drastic measures should be taken." He was speaking a day after Russian President Vladimir Putin proclaimed the annexation of 4 Ukrainian regions, including Donetsk, where Liman is located, and placed them under Russia's nuclear umbrella, saying Moscow would defend the lands it had seized, in his words, with all our strength and all our means. Russia has the world's largest atomic arsenal, including low-yield tactical nuclear weapons that are designed to be deployed against opposing armies. The death toll of a suicide bombing in a Kabul classroom has risen to 35, according to the UN on Saturday, as Shiite Hazara women bore the brunt of the attack, staged a defiant protest against what they called the genocide of their community. Hurricane Ian has left dozens dead in Florida as the focus turns to rescue and recovery. AP correspondent Julie Walker has more.
More than 1,000 people had to be rescued as of Saturday from flooded areas along Florida's southwestern coast. General Daniel Hokanson told the AP while flying above the scene.
A lot of homes severely damaged, a lot of roof damage, and frankly the shoreline being pushed up into some of these buildings.
The head of the National Guard also says you can now see how the water is affected by Hurricane Ian.
Normally it's a bright blue water here and it's a brown.
On the ground, Florida Guard member Elizabeth Thompson was distributing food, water, and more.
Some people come through, they've been through a hard time. So maybe some hugs and some care is all they really need as well.
I'm Julie Walker.
The self-declared new military leader of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traoré, said on Saturday that ousted President Paul-Henri Damiba had taken refuge at a French army base and was planning a counter-offensive after a coup a day earlier. The statement was read on state television by an army officer, flanked by soldiers in fatigues and masks. The French embassy earlier denied any involvement by the French army in recent events in Burkina Faso, and said the French forces were not protecting any Burkina Faso authorities. EU leaders will discuss the security of their critical infrastructure next week, according to the head of the European Council on Saturday. This follows damage to the Nord Stream pipelines under the Baltic Sea that European leaders have described as sabotage. Charles Michel, who chairs meetings of EU leaders, said in a tweet, quote, "Sabotage of Nord Stream pipelines is a threat to the EU. We are determined to secure our critical infrastructure. Leaders will address this at the upcoming summit in Prague." EU country leaders are scheduled to meet in the Czech capital on October 7th. A Tanzanian doctor working in Uganda who contracted Ebola has died. The first health worker killed by the disease in the latest outbreak in Uganda, according to Uganda's health minister on Saturday. And cholera cases have surged this year, especially in places of poverty and conflict, with outbreaks reported in 26 countries and fatality rates rising sharply, this according to a World Health Organization official. In a typical year, fewer than 20 countries report outbreaks of cholera, which is spread by the ingestion of contaminated food or water. And once again, our top story this hour, Ukraine's nuclear power provider says Russian forces have blindfolded and detained the head of Europe's largest nuclear plant at Zaporizhzhia.
Hi, thank you for watching. I hope the videos are useful for you. Please subscribe to my channel using the button below.